Well, we're off and running into 2025. Hope you all have a good year ahead of you. There's a couple of things that I would like to address before we get too far into these next videos. One is last week when I talked about the fire I had here in the shop, and I had gone online to pick up some dates on some other fires that had happened in cities across the country. And I specifically mentioned the Chicago fire, and I noted that it was in 1811. Well, many of you picked up that it wasn't in 1811, but it was in 1871. So I went back and looked at my notes, and I must write like a doctor, because I had written down 1871, but when I glanced at it, I read it as 1811. So you were right, and I was wrong, but you all kind of get the gist of what I was trying to get at. The second thing is a number of you have been mentioning something about my audio, that it fades in and out, and sometimes it bounces back between mono and stereo. And actually, when Diane and I listen to it, we're not picking it up, and I don't pick it up as I am doing the editing. So maybe I just don't have sophisticated enough equipment to hear that. So I apologize for that. I did order a new mic system. To maybe the one that I have had for several years is going faulty. I don't know. I did upgrade my camera here about a month ago. So I don't know what else to do. It'll be about a week before I get that. So if you're continuing to hear these funky audio changes, I apologize. Don't know what else to do other than I'm going to buy some upgraded equipment and see if that helps. So the next thing to do is to make a little more headway on this undercarriage for this 8-passenger Yellowstone coach. I got the end caps of the reaches glued on, but I need to make some special bolts to bolt these together. I just put 5/16 in, and I'm going to bolt them actually with 3/8 like they were originally. Try to get this going. They are two different angles, and we'll look at just how this is going to work. So these reach end caps are bolted on like so, and they have a top plate on the end of the reaches, and then they have a bolt that is angled down through the back end of this reach cap. Well, because of the angle, these bolts have to be bent at an angle as well, and the rear is different angle from the front. But both of them will have a top plate that these are bolted to. This goes through, and then there's a separate iron that comes up underneath and then is bolted again in the second position like so to secure that, because everything is carried on these two reach caps when it comes to the through braces and the suspension. So I need 3 bolts at this angle for the back, and the fronts have angled bolts as well. This plate is a little different in the front, because in the front there is something that's similar to a pillow block that carries the front brake assembly. So this is short, and you can see these holes are a little offset. But these also have an angled bolt in them. You see the head has to be bent to accommodate that angle. And they are different. As I set these two side by side, you can see the two different angles. This is the front, and this one is the rear. So I need to make 3 of these and 3 of these. Well, this center iron here, which takes the kingpin, is quite a little bit heavier, so I'm actually going to use this as kind of my swage block to bend my other bolts to. Now it's different than the rear, but I can still use this as my main holding form and bend these to 2 different angles. While I was sandblasting this iron on the front left side, I noticed this hole is quite a bit offset. So I wondered if my roller for my brake mechanism happened to be a little offset. So I went and dug it out. But when I set it in place, it looks like this little notch here has a little bracket that keeps this whole mechanism from sliding right to left. I don't see any reason why that can't be centered up. And when I look on the left side as well, you can see the wear spot here where it was setting on this block and it seems to be centered up also. You know, when I run across little things like this that just don't seem quite right, it makes me wonder, is there something that's a little out of square or asymmetrical that I'm not seeing? But I don't see any reason why this hole shouldn't be lined up. Well, I might be missing something down the line that I might regret, but it looks to me like this hole is better off lined up with this slot here. There's a wood block that this rests on, and it centers right over this iron. So why wouldn't that bolt be centered? That's what I'm going to do anyway. Well, this next bar sets right in behind this fifth wheel kingpin iron. But the actual position is going to be determined by these side irons, as they have to straddle this. There's a clip here that will cover over the saddles that carry the throw braces. So this needs to set in here. But there's a piece of iron that goes underneath this front reach crossbar. And one of them was here and one of them was missing. And I think this is the side that was missing. This is the same bar that's the front reach crossbar. And see, this iron is here, this iron was missing. But this is just a simple 1.5" by 3 1/8" iron, couple screws and a punch square hole. So that should be easy enough to replace. And I think I'm also missing one on the back. This is that crossbar to the reaches. So this side has an iron, but this side is rotted away and gone. So I need to make 2 of these. Just 1.5", pretty simple, beveled off on the corners. Looks like it has a slight bevel all the way around. Pretty straightforward stuff. Well, these side brace irons help us line up the position of this crossbar, which holds the saddles for the throw braces. Now underneath this kingpin iron here, this charred piece I need to replace, but that will fit right underneath like so. And then the kingpin will go down through here, and then there's a heavy fifth wheel plate that fits here. But obviously I need to replace this after the fire, but I think I'm going to do that next week. So this helps kind of pre-fit some of this stuff. I'm not really ready to bolt it together quite yet. I want to make sure everything fits in place before I do the final assembly. But we're getting a good start on the front axle assembly. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.